And welcome to the Marcus and Mike Show, guys, where we wear sandals with socks because that's what the cool kids do. Welcome,
Yeah,
Marcus. How you doing today, man?
I wear sandals with socks as well. I don't like my yeah yeah it's a thing. I don't like going in bare feet either. So I have to wear socks, dude. I don't like bare feet touching the floor and all that. So yeah,
Yeah, and my wife calls me weird, man. She's the weird one. She's like, you can't wear socks to bed. The only time I don't have socks on my feet is when I'm in the shower,
right there you go.
more or
Yeah, no,
less.
and I get sometimes that your feet air out a little bit, but I mean yeah, I don't like my feet hitting floors because I don't like germs. So that's just me.
Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
was raised in Kansas, where at any point in time where a tornado can randomly pop up and you scrambling for shoes, like, and I don't
Yeah.
wear shoes with shoes without socks.
Right.
I like at all. But
Yeah.
speaking of feet, we talked about Antonio Brown's feet last week a little bit, how
Yeah.
he got frostbite. Now he is coming to the radar to the Raiders and saying that he wants to wear his old helmet. He will not play football unless he wears his old helmet. Is this the beginning of the end of Antonio Brown in Oakland?
You would think it is, but I don't think he's the sharpest tool in the shed. I really think he has. I don't know how good his. I don't think his character is that great. We talked about it. Him going Facebook Live a few years ago. Putting his coach on blast. I mean, it's just ridiculous. His character is bad. I just don't think he's gonna walk away from $30 million. $30 million over the next 2 years. I think he'll go ahead and it's another excuse to miss training camp for a veteran. I've heard them all now. But I thought this guy was even though he was a little bit had character issues and stuff. I thought he was a hard worker. That's what we all heard. Practices really hard, like a Michael Irvin, or a Deion Sanders. And so far, we haven't seen him at practice. So I don't even know how true that is. John Gruden's probably pulling his hair out and he's saying all the right. He'll probably say all the right things in the media, maybe even on Hard Knocks. But when he goes home to his wife or he talks to Mike Mayock,
Right.
he's
Yeah.
it's not pleasant. Um, yeah, no, I think he'll be there week one. I think they'll resolve this issue. Tom Brady's having the same issue, but because Tom Brady wants to wear his old helmet and he can't, and so he's kind of struggling with that too. But Tom Brady's out there with the new helmet. He's doing it. Like
Right.
he's not gonna put his teammates in jeopardy and throw a tantrum and stay at home and or go to the Bahamas or something. So I think Antonio Brown will come to his senses, and I think you'll see him the week before training camp or the week before game one is week one. I think he'll be there. I don't think he's even that dumb. And listen, they talked about he's made all this money, like $70 million. First of all, that's chump change to great NFL, great NBA players, and great Major League Baseball players.
Right.
And do you really think he's taking care of his money? Really?
Uh,
Like,
Judging by
I
this
bet.
last month, no.
No, I doubt it. I mean, listen, he's not going to be, on food stamps anytime soon. But I bet he hasn't taken care of his money like
Yeah.
he thinks he like. He said I think he sent out a tweet like, "Hey guys, I got all the money, dude. I'll sit it out. Will my fans still be upset at me?" He's just to even send that tweet out. You can tell. I mean, also tell you this, and I don't know this for a fact, but no, you know what? I do know this for a fact. He doesn't have a good woman behind him.
Oh yeah.
You think your wife would let you send out that tweet like, are you a moron? You know what I mean? Like you can tell he doesn't have a good publicist. He doesn't have it's just
Yeah. It's
these are why people need publicists and these are why people need, things like that. Um yeah, I think he'll be there. I think he's going to be there. He's not going to walk away from $30 million over the next 2 years. So he could retire in a couple of years, but he'll at least have another $30 million to. He's missing. Let me tell you something. They said it's almost 900,000 a game he'd be walking away from. nine
which
hundred thousand a game.
which is ridiculous amount of money in my book, for sure.
Yeah,
But if this was in Steelerland, it would be okay. Like Mike Tomlin would kind of look the other way, say the right things. Hey, he's our guy. We need him here. But John Gruden, he is cut from a different cloth.
yeah,
He basically got rid of Khalil Mack this past season because he did
right.
not fit the mold of what he wanted at like. on their defensive side, like of the ball,
Right.
and like he was starting to raise controversies, raise issues. So Le'Veon Bell has got to be skating on thin, thin ice with John Gruden. I think
Yeah.
he is the type of coach that I don't care who you are. You could be Jerry Rice, but if you're not here at practice, get your ass on the bench. Like you need to be here to perform so the team can get better. Oakland
Right.
Raiders were what 3-12 or 3-13 this past year.
Right.
They were not very good. The only piece they really added was Antonio Brown. Is Antonio Brown 5 wins? Can he single-handedly improve that team 5 wins? No, he cannot. He needs Carr. He
Right.
needs that tailback. He needs to get the coaches on his side. So he better get
Right.
his butt to practice real quick and stop bitching about a damn helmet. I mean, okay, it doesn't quite fit your head quite right. Cut your hair. You know, cut that little frohawk thing that you have happening.
Yeah.
Pre pre present yourself in practice. Get your ass there. So I mean, I'm fed up just like with him like
That
already, and the season
yeah,
hasn't even started yet.
that would be another one. Remember I told you last week, like if I was the owner and you were the GM and we were in a meeting and
Yeah,
one of the guys knocked on the door and said, "Hey, he's got frostbite." I told you I'd say, "Hey,
yeah,
you lie again, I'm gonna fire your ass." Now get
yeah,
out. If they knocked on our door again and said, "Hey, Antonio Brown said he might retire because of his helmet," I'd fire that guy.
yeah. Do that strike
And,
one,
and
two,
he
and
would
three. Get out of
and he
here.
would be telling the truth.
Right?
I'd fire a guy for telling the truth. I would be so perplexed. I'd be so freaked out. I would think that guy's lying for the second time. You'd have to call him back and say, "Marcus, he wasn't lying. We have a Nimrod. We signed a Nimrod." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is the truth.
I
So
mean,
I'd have to apologize to the guy that came in and gave us the information because I'd fired him.
like these guys are bitching about helmets. I remember when I was like in seventh grade, I had to take the pad out of my helmet and like lay it under the couch because it was so freaking stiff. Like it'd leave that red old that like that red mark that Peyton Manning had lie just like on his head. These helmets
Yeah.
nowadays are like a pillow on your head. So I don't know what could possibly be uncomfortable about these new helmets. But
Hey man, for about 4 years of my football career, I played a football with a Rydell helmet,
yeah,
and they were hard as a rock.
yeah.
I may as well have put a rock on my head. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, I
That
mean,
that
and then
front pad was about 3 inches thick, and it was like
yeah,
concrete in there.
and then as I moved up and got better, they got us bike helmets. They made, I don't know, it said bike on it, right?
Yeah,
And I had a little bit more padding than the Rydell. We gave the newbies the Rydells. Like, dude, just put a you're these are I mean, you can't be this much of a baby. Like, come on, man.
yeah. So Antonio Brown, you know, actually, I'm not mad. Keep on bitching, keep on complaining, because I don't want to see you week 1. I don't want to see you week 2. I don't want to see you week 3. Because as a Kansas City fan, you just make that our chances that much better to
Oh
win the
God.
division.
It's 2 wins anyway.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I actually had Oakland beating Kansas City, I think, one game.
No, no, you don't.
Yeah, you're right, I
Yeah. Hold on.
don't.
Let me change your mind real quick.
Now I
Yeah,
don't,
just
but week 2 I did, but we'll
Ken-
see.
Kansas City Chief cornerback Kendall Fuller against Brown will be a great matchup. But what I would do is I would roll the coverage to him. They're not beating the Kendall Fuller. I'd put him on somebody else, and I'd put the second corner, that new kid from last year, and then I'd roll the coverage to him. They're not beating. Kansas City's not losing to the Oakland Raiders. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Kansas City Chiefs, they did play in their first preseason game Saturday night versus the Cincinnati Bengals. I did watch the first half of the game. I did not watch the second half because preseason second halves
Yeah.
are kind of hard to watch, like every now and then. But let me hear your takeaway from that game, just from the Kansas City standpoint.
They're not gonna listen. I mean, I watch preseason with a little grain of salt too. Like I'm not really like, it's preseason. Just like I'm not foaming at the mouth over Daniel Jones when he went 5 for 5 for the New York Giants. I mean, it's vanilla stuff. It's against the Jets second teamers. But Kansas City kind of just proved what I thought. Offensively, they're not gonna be stopped. Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins and McCole Hardman, they're not gonna be stopped. Did you see that? I mean, And then I think Tyreek Hill, they said, ran a 4.25,
Yep.
4.24, and then McCall Hardman's second with a 4.33, and Watkins is third. They're fast as hell. They got the best or second best tight end in football. Patrick Mahomes, a really good offensive line. It's maybe not as good as the Cowboys or the Colts, but it's top 10. You don't need it's top 10. It's fine. The problem Kansas City will have, like they had last year's defense. I said last week the defense will be fine, but let me put a little disclaimer on it. Steve Spagnuolo is changing the defense. Whenever anybody goes from a 3-4 to a 4-3, it's gonna be a work in progress. Same thing if you go from a 4-3 to a 3-4. You have to get players to fit that scheme. And if you're gonna keep some of those players and have a layover, they're gonna have to learn some new things. So this is gonna be a little bit more difficult transition because you're changing a whole scheme. I like Steve Spagnuolo as a defensive coordinator. Michael, Steve Spagnuolo is one of those where, and there's a lot of these out there where he's never going to be a great head coach. He's tried it. Remember, he's tried it. But we found out, and he knows he's a great coordinator.
Yes.
He should never be a head coach. That's what he is. So I don't think Steve Spagnuolo, the only time he'd ever get a shot again would be interim. Let's just say Andy Reid, got the flu for a week. Then Steve Spagnuolo would be your coach.
Yeah.
He'd be like a stopgap measure if Andy Reid got fired, which ain't going to happen because they're going to win almost all their games. But Steve Spagnuolo would be your coach until you hired the new coach, and then Steve Spagnuolo would go back to his defensive coordinator. Steve Spagnuolo is a heck of a defensive coordinator. He's not a great coach. So we found that out. He's now putting the Chiefs at a 4-3 system. So listen, he's done a great job with that in the past with the New York Giants. I mean, the guy's a great defensive coordinator. It's going to take a few weeks to figure that out. But once they figure that out and everybody knows where they're going and knows they know who they're hitting and they know their gaps and all that, the Kansas City Chiefs will have a better defense in the second half of the season. You just got to get through the first 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks of learning a new system, and I think the Kansas City offense will carry them through that.
Yeah, the offense looked great as always. I believe it was the very first play of the game on the Kansas City Chiefs offensive side. Patrick Mahomes hit Travis Kelce on a dart for a 30-yard pass. Like, I thought that pass was going to get intercepted, but they showed the replay of it. The linebacker was still looking back at the quarterback when the ball was already 10 yards past him, which was it was a crazy spot that he put that ball into place. Just to take note on the Kansas City offensive side, Tyreek Hill did not play that game, I did not see him play, and he still functions just fine. I mean, do I want to not see Tyreek Hill for 9-10 games? No, I don't. Yeah. But for one game, it'll be perfectly fine. So, offense has never been the issue. Coaching's never been the issue. The defense has been the issue. That very first drive, when we thought they fall on with the ball, the Kansas City defense looked really, really well. But it turned out it was a incomplete pass, and then the Cincinnati Bengals offense just drove down the field. It was like a varsity versus a JV. I mean, they were giving them a little bit of back and forth, just a tad bit, but they looked horrible. And I actually tweeted out, I'm like, well, at least our offense is still good because I had no faith in that defense whatsoever. Like, even the commentators like on the game, of course they were from Cincinnati, but they said if this was a regular season game, they could see this going 45-42 type of score. Yeah, which I don't know. Bengals are just sucking. So I don't think they would have been able to hang with the Kansas City Chiefs as they thought they would. But this is still preseason, and I don't want to overreact any way whatsoever to the left or to the right. So what I would like to see from the Kansas City Chiefs defensive side of the ball, game 2 and game 3, play a full half of defense so those starters can start to learn the 4-3 system so that defense can start to click sooner than later. Right. Yes, I do agree with you. By week 8, by week 9, that defense will start to look better, start to click. But I want to see that week 3 or week 4 as a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Right. Like, I kind of want to be, in shootouts the first four or 5 weeks of the season. I want to be able to, comfortably relax in that fourth quarter. But
Yeah,
that's just me.
if this was week one, it'd go back and forth, and then the Honey Badger would intercept Andy Dalton, and then the
Mhm.
Kansas City Chiefs would go up 2 touchdowns, and that'd be your final. So, I mean, yeah, it might be a little back and forth at the beginning, sure. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not that worried about it. I think Kansas City does have the good personnel, and I think they have the right coach, Steve Spagnuolo, the right coach to fix it.
And
And
they've
their first,
gotten and they've gotten
yeah,
pieces to fill that 4-3 system. So don't get
yes,
the, so don't forget about the addition of Jones and the linebacker from the Cowboys that we just got.
well,
And
yeah,
they just
they
signed.
got a couple, yeah, they got Damian Wilson, and they got Anthony Hitchens. They got Anthony Hitchens last year.
Yeah.
Um,
And they just signed
so
Claiborne from the Jets as well. So
yeah, so I mean, and listen, their first three picks in the draft I thought were home runs. So when you got McCole Hardman, you're a little worried about the Tyreek Hill situation. Now you have them both, but then they got Thornhill at
mhm.
safety from Virginia, and they got Saunders, defensive tackle, to go with Chris Jones in the middle. Those are the first three picks of Kansas City. They'll be just fine. I think it's just going to take time to gel. Like I said, it's a big deal going from 3-4 to 4-3
You're
and
you're 100%
4-3 to
right.
3-4. That's a huge deal. That's not just changing coordinators and keeping the same scheme. You're changing everything. So that's going to take time to gel.
Yeah, you are 100% correct on that. Speaking of stepping up and gelling with the team, Pollard for the Cowboys looked pretty darn good in like his preseason debut without Ezekiel Elliott on
Yeah.
the like on the field. Give me your thoughts about him.
Yeah, I mean, you know what was important for me is he looked the part. Even though he looked like a slender, like if Le'Veon Bell lost 20, 30 pounds. So he's not ready for the full-time contact and all that. He waited for his blocks like Le'Veon Bell, then he hit it, then he hit the hole pretty well. He saw where people were blocking and all that. Kind of reminded me of a Le'Veon Bell, but like I said, real light. He's a typical right now. He's a third down back. I don't know if he can carry that full load. I think Alfred Morris is going to start, but I think Pollard's going to be really, really good in that third down back situation, like a Darren Sproles type player, like a Ty Montgomery that used to play for the Packers type player. So he's going to be really good in that role. He looked the part. I mean, he didn't look out of place or anything like that. He looked like he had some giddy up and some go in him. Like you get that ball to that guy in the flat, you get the ball to Pollard in the flat, and he looks like he can giddy up and go. You know what I mean? Like it didn't. He looked like the real deal. So I was very happy about that. Very, very happy about that. So the thing that I wasn't happy about is, man, I think I would have got on. I was done. I'm done. I'm almost done. And listen. I'm a person that's very patient, Michael. Like I'll hey, let's not call him a bust yet. Let's see what he's got. These are young guys and all that. But man, in the NFL, it's hard to do that because I don't have time to sit around and wait and try to win championships. I want to win them now. We've talked about that last week about 5-year plans and all that. You can throw that out the window, the 5-year plan. If I hear people say 5-year plan, I quit listening to them. I've seen enough of Mike White and Cooper Rush that I would the next day after that game, I would give them their walking papers and I'd be calling Luke McCown from ESPN radio. Like Luke McCown has retired and he
Right.
has joined ESPN. I would say, how much is ESPN paying you? And then he'd say, probably they're starting me out with 300,000. I bet that's a good check. 300,000. That's not bad for just talking, right? I'm gonna quadruple that. Get on the plane. You're gonna get about 1.4 or 1.5 million dollars. I need you to be Dak's backup this year because man, you talk about we can't win without Zeke, and that's everybody loves to say that, and I think I think that's true to a certain extent, right? But you lose Dak Prescott, and yeah, you may as well go fishing for real.
Right. You're
So
100% correct on that one.
I need a Luke McCown in there that's throwing the ball around to other people and can still win me games. I I would have traded for Ryan Tannehill. I would have traded for Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, listen, and Dak's been the Iron Man. He has started 52 straight games. That's pretty good, right?
That's pretty damn good.
That's 4 playoff games, or what is it? 3 playoff games. 51 games. He started 48 regular season and 3 playoff games. Yeah, it's not 52. I'm sorry, it's 51. That's pretty special. I mean, that's pretty good. That's, and plus he's a big dude. He's taking hits. I mean, they've run read option with him. He's gotten killed. So And he still takes a licking and keeps on ticking, as they say. So I'm not. He's probably an Iron Man, but I still need somebody with NFL experience that can get the ball to Amari Cooper. So my team, if Dak goes down, my team, Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and the offensive line won't go, oh man, it's over. Like if Luke McCown comes trotting in, Amari Cooper knows, okay, I've seen that guy get the ball to people. I know he's going to get the ball to me still.
Right.
I want Dak to get healthy, but I know this guy, Luke McCown, can get the ball to me. And so I still run my routes, catch it. So I don't want anybody to feel defeated if we lost Dak. So Cooper Rush and Mike White, man, I think I've seen enough.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, this is a business. This is not for long. NFL means not for long, as Jerry Glanville used to say.
Yeah.
And I'd go ahead and I'd bring in a veteran.
Yeah. Probably about preseason game number 3, it is when you'll start seeing those veteran quarterbacks get cut from those teams. So you as a GM, you need to hang on for one more week, just to see who gets cut and then who doesn't get cut. Now, as far as Cooper Rush and Mike White go, maybe you can try to trade them to get a 6th or a 7th round pick or a 5th round pick. Philadelphia Eagles just lost their backup quarterback to a broken wrist, I believe it. I believe it was. So they're in need of a quarterback. Maybe you can con them in to pick up your trash on the sideline here. But as a GM, as an owner, as a fan, we got to pump the brakes a little bit. Wait till preseason week number 3, and that is when you'll start seeing those veteran quarterbacks get cut from the team. That is when you'll see Teddy Bridgewater hit the minute you hear any news about Teddy Bridgewater getting cut from the Saints or being traded, the Cowboys better be on the phone with Teddy ASAP. That would be a great pickup.
Oh, it would be a great pickup. I would have traded for him, but I don't think the Saints are going to release him because they know that if Drew Brees goes down, they have Teddy Bridgewater, and I don't think Mike White and Cooper Rush are good enough to even trade. I mean, that's why you got to cut your losses with these guys. You have to go. Yeah, but you know what? You're right. Let's be patient. I'm normally patient. Yeah. I really am. I will wait. I'll give Cooper and Mike another, couple of weeks and, see what they do.
You don't got to give them any more weeks. To me, they are done. They are, they're just taking up space until some guy either, we are kind of like hanging out with this girl until the next one comes along because you still want to have some fun. So that's kind of what it is right now with Cooper Rush and Mike White here. So
So we'll just bide our time.
Right. So the first week of the NFL preseason is now officially under wraps. We are officially into week 2. What is your biggest takeaway from week 1 so far? What are you overreacting to or underreacting to?
Yeah, as far as the preseason goes, there was some good stories. There was that rugby player. Have you seen him he plays for the Buffalo Bills now? He did rugby and he was the best rugby player. Like he was awesome. Like you couldn't catch him. I think he's an African guy or something like that. Like he are from some island or something. But he showed up at rugby and he was just like they would show the highlights of him on ESPN and he was just taking stuff to the house on rugby.
Right.
Like they weren't catching him. So usually those guys. I mean,
isn't that where Carlos Hyde came from with the 49ers? He was a rugby player over in Australia.
I don't know. I don't know too much. I know Carlos Hyde. He was the running back at Ohio State before Zeke.
Okay.
So I don't know if he played. I don't know if he had a rugby background or not. But Carlos Hyde was at Ohio State. Then Zeke replaced him, and then Mike Weber replaced Zeke.
Okay.
That's how. But anyways, this rugby player for the Bills. Now the Bills signed him, and so first play, man. NFL, he takes it like 80 yards to the house. So the NFL people couldn't catch him either. So I forgot his name. He wears number 40. But, man, that was something to watch, man. And then there was a kid that was homeless, playing for the Cleveland Browns and lied his way onto the practice. And then he took his punt return to the house. Yeah. So both those guys, a rugby player and a homeless player, are taking stuff to the house, man. It just shows you, you have your dreams and your determination. Nothing can stop you. And also, let me see what else. The rookie quarterbacks were fun to watch. I thought Kyler Murray did a good job. Dwayne Haskins looked poor, and he made some throws where you're like, damn.
You're right.
That's a pretty good throw. That's what I saw from him on his pro day and everything else. But, yeah, he made some questionable throws. Kyler Murray did the check down thing. Daniel Jones looked good, and I still have reservations about him, but he did that against the second team. I think I mentioned earlier. He did that against the second team
Yeah.
Jets squad, and they gave him easy stuff, man. It wasn't, but he looked decisive. I mean, he didn't look indecisive at all. He was decisive. So Daniel Jones got an A so far. Sam Darnold, I'm telling you right now, look, this is one of those weird ones where we'll be talking about this for years. Saquon Barkley is a beast.
Yes.
Okay, but man, like they could have had Sam Darnold. So if Daniel Jones doesn't cut it and Saquon Barkley becomes like this runner and they used him up 4 years and nothing happened and Sam Darnold's, becomes as good as Phillip Rivers, you know what I mean? Like they're going to be looking back on it like they made a mistake taking even Saquon Barkley. It could have had Sam Darnold. So, but Sam Darnold looked great for the Jets, man. That guy can make throws, uncoachable
He has a very strong arm.
Yeah, he's the real deal. And I heard his arm got even stronger over the offseason. So, that's just I liked Rosen against Fitzpatrick. That's pretty fun to watch. Who's going to start there in Miami? I like watching the quarterback play. The first few series of the quarterback play. It's pretty fun to watch. Oh man, and Baker Mayfield, dude. I'm gonna tell you right now. Look, man, like cause you have these old heads like the Brees and the Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers. Yes, fabulous, right? But out of the young kids, when you watch Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and Baker Mayfield, that shit's fun.
Yeah.
Like they look like they're having a blast. They're throwing in different arm angles and throwing in the wind. You're like, holy smokes! Like these guys, these three right here, up and coming, are the real deal. Like if I had to start a team, I wouldn't. If I had one quarterback to win me something this year, obviously you would choose Brady or Brees, right? Like
right.
Or Aaron Rodgers. But if you were starting a franchise, you wouldn't start with those guys. You would go Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson, and Mahomes. So that's it's fun to watch those three. And they did. Deshaun Watson didn't play because I mean, dude, you can't have him get hurt.
Right.
But Baker Mayfield went out there and it looked like week 10. He's just going out there throwing the ball all over the place, having fun. He looks like the young Brett Favre.
Yeah. Everything that you said, I mean, I have to concur pretty much everything on. But Browns fans, pump the brakes just a little bit. I know you guys are excited to have a good team that's going to flunk out of the first round of the playoffs again. But you guys still pump the brakes. You're still going to be an 8-8 team.
Oh man, I see, man. That's where we totally differ. Like this dude's a real deal quarterback. Hey, and Tom, in terms of fantasy football, if Baker Mayfield's sitting, you know how many touchdowns that fool's gonna throw this year after Mahomes? Look who he's got. He's gonna throw a lot of touchdowns.
You're right.
Listen, I will be shocked if over under on touchdowns, if it's like 36, I'll be shocked if it was under.
Okay.
He's gonna throw near 40.
Yeah, like a week or two before the season starts, we'll have to break down the quarterbacks just a little bit and just give them some over/under picks. Speaking of fantasy football, the Marcus and Mike Fantasy Football League is officially out there, guys. So jump on our Facebook page. I have the link up there as well. Posted on Twitter, or just go to ESPN.com and look for Marcus and Mike Fantasy Football League. So we have 12 spots that were available. The last I checked, we're down to about 6 or 7. So it's filling up fast. So join us on that. It's just some good time, guys. It's free. It's for bragging rights. Maybe I'll get a little mock trophy made up and I can ship it out to the person who wins it. But it's that time of the show again, Marcus, where we're breaking down NFL schedules. We've broken down the Chiefs. We've broken down the Patriots. We've broken down the Dolphins. Now it's time to break down the Los Angeles Chargers, possibly another number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
Starting off week number 1, the Chargers are at home taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Who do you got?
Chargers will beat the Indianapolis Colts week 1. I think the Chargers are the real deal. We talked about that last week. I think Kansas City will probably win the division. How many wins did we have Kansas City? Do you remember that? Or
yes, you have them at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We both have them at 12-4.
Yeah, I think Kansas. This is going to be a great race. The Philadelphia and the Dallas Cowboy race will be a 2-team race. This is also going to be another 2-team race in this division, and this is going to be great to watch. I mean, Listen. If you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I'm not, I just think they're going to win the Super Bowl. You are. Every week, you got to be paying attention to what the Chargers are doing.
Yeah.
Like really, like that's going to be your measuring stick. Because the loser, what you're telling me, Michael, the loser just is going to be the
A
fifth
fifth seed.
seed.
Yep.
That's crazy.
1 to 5. No middle.
What? See, if the NFL reworks that, the loser would be the third seed, or that you know what I mean. Like
Right.
you know what I mean. That should be okay, but they're not doing that this year. So
I don't think they'll ever change.
yeah. So no, I got the Chargers winning week 1.
Yeah, exactly. We posted a poll up there on our Facebook page. Who was the bigger like the bigger race to watch? Was it the Chiefs and Chargers, or was the Cowboys Eagles? The Chargers and Chiefs are currently leading with 60%. Some people are asking why we only picked those two divisions. Simply because I think that is going to be the closest two divisions to watch. So
Right.
just to answer that person's question, but just to back to our game talks here, I have the Chargers winning the Colts like as well. We said it many times. Like again, opening day at home, got to go with the home team.
Yeah,
Week
absolutely.
week number 2, traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions.
Now,
Who do you got?
did we pick the Detroit schedule yet?
We
We
have
did,
not.
right?
Nope.
We have not. Okay. Nah, I mean, I just the charge. Golly, I don't. Should I give them a loss here? I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if this is Detroit's home opener.
It is.
You know what? It is. You know what? I'm gonna give the Chargers a loss right here. Shockingly, I
Okay.
think they'll
I like
lose
your
to Detroit.
style.
No.
But what I just said about the home games, I got to go
Yeah.
the exact opposite of what I just said. Chargers are just too much for the
Yeah.
Lions, unfortunately. Lions, just like I said before, they suck. They're going to be
Yeah, they're
horrible
bad.
this year. Week number 3, back at home, take on the Houston Texans. Who do you got?
Man, I got the Chargers beating Houston. That's painful for me to say, but yeah, Chargers will bounce back and beat Houston.
Yeah, I believe I haven't picked my games yet, so I'm thinking here. Um, I'm gonna have to go with Houston on this one.
Okay.
I just think Houston's defense is just strong enough, just grungy enough, just to hold the Chargers down.
Yeah.
So giving us a week four matchup at Miami, we have them both beating Miami at
Okay.
Miami, and then they travel to Denver. Uh, you have them beating Denver. I have them beating
Right.
Denver as well. Next game we're picking is at home versus Pittsburgh Steelers. Who do you got?
And this is Sunday Night Football. Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm gonna go ahead and they're at home, right? I'll take the Chargers.
You take the Chargers at home.
Yeah.
I am taking the Chargers at home as well. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be good this season, but they're going to take a little bit step back. Yes, they missed the playoffs last year, but that was highly due because they were waiting on Le'Veon Bell to come back. Antonio Brown with his antics. This is a year removed from them, and it's gonna show versus a good team such as the Chargers.
Yeah.
Next week they travel into Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans. Who do you got?
I'll take the Chargers again, beating Tennessee. I'll take the Chargers. This was the London game last year.
Yes.
And Philip Rivers scored in the last seconds to beat the Tennessee. I'll go ahead and I'll take San Diego. I mean, there we go, San Diego. I'll take the LA Chargers.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm taking the Chargers. San Diego, like LA, it doesn't matter. It's still the
Yeah.
Chargers.
Right.
Next week they are traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. Who do you got?
I'll take the Bears in this one, Soldier Field. This will be, the Chargers will be their second loss or whatever.
Yeah. So this one I was going back and forth on a lot because I do like the Bears, but I don't like them to beat a team like the Chargers that can score pretty much
Right.
at will. But I am picking the Bears to win this game because they are at home. I think
Yeah.
they step up for this game, giving us a next week matchup at back at home, take on the Packers.
No, I'll take the Chargers beating the Packers.
Yeah, I'm doing the same. As I think the Packers will win their division. They won't beat the Chargers.
Okay.
Next week, their first division game at Oakland. Who do you got?
It's Thursday Night Football, and I'm taking the Oakland Raiders at home Thursday Night Football.
And I am as well. I don't know what it is. Like I just like Oakland, but I have them winning a lot of big games. I had them beating the Chiefs, and then I had them beating the Chargers. I like as well. Giving us a next week matchup, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. We both have them beating the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe. Yes, we do.
Yes.
Going into the
This is
bye week.
Yeah, and they'll have 11 days to prepare for the Chiefs, and it's a night game.
Yeah.
I will take the Chargers in that one. Go ahead. What?
Yeah, and then we go into the bye week, and then next week they're at the Denver Broncos. I believe you have them losing to the Denver
Yes.
Broncos that week. I have them losing as well, giving us a week 14 matchup at Jacksonville Jaguars.
We didn't pick Jacksonville's schedule, right?
Nope.
Not yet. Where? How many wins do I have them at now?
Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm gonna have them beating the Jacksonville Jaguars week 14. They're coming off of a loss to Denver, so yeah, they'll beat Jacksonville coming in.
Yeah, I had them beating Jacksonville as well. I don't like the Jacksonville quarterback play, and to win in December, I don't care if you're at home, on the road, or in Mexico, or in London.
Right.
You have to have good quarterback play to win. And Jacksonville quarterback's going to be probably mediocre pretty much all year. Given the Chargers back home at the LA Coliseum, take on the Minnesota Vikings. Who do you got?
And this is another night game. This is Sunday Night Football also. Minnesota at home. That's a weird kind of a Sunday night. I mean, I don't know why they would want to promote the Chargers 30,000 seat stadium. Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
yeah.
It's in LA. It's not in Minnesota. I would have had this game at Minnesota in their new stadium. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I mean, they're having a hard time putting announcers places because it's so small. Why would you even have this on TV? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I have on here 8:20. It's a 7:20 Central. Like this is a night game. So that's weird to me. So it's not at Minnesota. I'll have the Chargers winning this one. The Chargers will beat Minnesota.
Yeah, I had the Chargers beating Minnesota as well. Minnesota Vikings are going to be good with Kirk Cousins. I saw them play a little bit Saturday afternoon, I believe it was. They look solid, but the Chargers are going to be clicking at this time.
Yeah.
They're making that strong push for that number 1 seed, giving us a Week 16 matchup at home versus Oakland.
This is a massacre. They will destroy the Oakland Raiders, or the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, or whatever. They are moving to Las Vegas next year, so I guess we should start saying, right? I thought that was written in stone.
Yeah,
because
they are building a stadium, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, why would they? Yeah, so anyways, the Las Vegas Raiders or whatever, they're going to smash them, and then that gives them 11 victories for me, which sets down. Here it comes, the Chiefs and the Chargers are coming into the final game of the year, both 11-4, winner take all, first or second seed.
Yeah, this Oakland game is a must-win for them. So exactly like what you said, this is going to be a massacre. They're going to show up. Oakland has already folded on themselves like on the year. Antonio Brown hasn't come to practice. He is kicked off the team, fined $6.6 million for missing the last 3 games. So giving us, I have the same exact schedule or same exact record as like you at 11-5. But of course, we already both have them losing to Kansas City that final week of the game.
If a turnover here or there, I mean, can you imagine? If San Diego wins that game, then they're 12-4, and the Chiefs are 11-5.
Yeah, and it's crazy that you go basically from best to worst in like a 1-game playoff scenario in that Week 17 matchup versus the Chiefs. However, looking at the Chargers schedule, it's pretty favorable in their favor here. They play a lot of big games, but they play those games at home. They play Indy at home. They play Houston at home. They play Pittsburgh at home. They play Packers at home.
Damn, that's lucky as hell.
Those are all games that they can that they can win. I have them losing that 1 game versus Houston. So I believe you had them beating Houston, but they sweep those teams. You are looking at the number 1 seed, Los Angeles Chargers there.
And what they have over the Chiefs is they have a better defensive front than the Chiefs. Listen, the Chiefs have a pretty good player in Chris Jones, and they drafted Saunders in the draft to go with Chris Jones. But You're talking Joey Bosa, man,
Hmm.
and Brandon Mebane. Uh, Brandon was part of the Seattle Seahawks 2 Super Bowl runs and their great defense there in Seattle. Now he starts at nose tackle for the Chargers now. Joey Bosa can get to the quarterback from that five technique, as well as almost as well as J.J. Watt can. And then they drafted their first round pick Jerry Tillery out of Notre Dame. That those three starters up front are pretty damn good. Like I mean, they can go with anybody. Then they signed Thomas Davis. He's a former Panther. Um, and Melvin Ingram can get to the passer as well as anybody. So their front seven is better than Kansas City's, even with Kansas City getting Frank Clark, and
Yep.
I've mentioned some of the other players. Um, Okafor that the Chiefs have that can go opposite of Clark. That's good at rushing the passer. So I'll give the edge to the Chargers when you're comparing Chiefs Chargers. The Chargers front seven's better, but the Kansas City Chiefs offense is better than the Los Angeles Chargers offense. So there's the edge. So these teams are pretty evenly matched, and that's why it is going to come down to that final week. Both teams coming in at 11-4, and I got Mahomes winning that game like 38-37. That's going to be an all-timer. That's going to be a great game.
Yeah. These last couple of years between the Chargers and the Chiefs, the Chiefs were they were basically 12-4.
Yeah.
Like they've all had 11 plus wins the last two seasons. This will be the third year that they have 11 plus wins. If this
Right.
continues to be a trend, I think the NFL has to readjust of how they do playoff seeding. Because if you are a 11-5 team and then you have
Yeah.
to travel to a 7-9, New England Patriots again,
Right.
just because the Chiefs they won 13 games the last
Right.
four or five seasons to year 12. I mean, the NFL would have to address that like
Yeah.
100%. But the couple year anomaly that they've had, so I'm hoping the Chargers do well, get 11, 12 wins, but they're still that fifth seed. So the NFL has reason to
Yeah.
adjust the playoffs.
Listen, I'm right with you. I don't know why they haven't changed this in the past. The worst case scenario, and I think I told you this probably about a month ago, you'd have thought the NFL would have changed it then. The Seattle Seahawks, before they became the Legion of Boom and all that stuff, this is pre Russell Wilson. They won their
Matt
division at
Hasselbeck.
7. They won their division at 7-9.
Yep.
And the New Orleans Saints had to go to Seattle, and that's when Marshawn Lynch did his famous run. Do you remember that run?
Yeah.
Where he knocked over about 4 or 5 New Orleans Saints on the way to a 60-yard touchdown. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That was the playoff game. The Seattle was 7-9, and New Orleans was like 11-5 or 10-6, traveling to a 7-9 team.
Yeah.
That's the worst I've ever heard. As a matter of fact, after that, everybody was talking about that you can't win a division unless you would go 8-8. Like you can't win the division at 7-9.
Well, when your division's that bad, I believe that year the 49ers and Cardinals both went 2-14. And then who else is in that division?
But okay, but yeah, but wait a minute, Michael. Though you still have to beat other teams. Like you can't. I would have adopted that rule. If you win your division and you go 7-9, you drop out of the playoffs, and another team that went 9-7 takes your spot from another division.
So
You
basically, what you're
cannot-
saying is you want to cancel out the divisions 100% then.
I would be in favor of that, but not necessarily. But you cannot get into the playoffs with a losing record.
Okay.
I would say that.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is you want the division still, but you do not want the division winner to guarantee a top 4 playoff seed or a playoff seed. Period. I mean, like you can still have your divisions and rivalries and and stuff, but the top 6 teams make it to the show.
Listen, we can do that. That's fine. But I'm not even advocating that. I'm just telling you that if you're not 8-8, you're not in the playoffs. I don't give a shit if you won your division at the final week of the year. And think about it. How can a 7-9 team be in the playoffs? That bothers me.
Well, then you can go back to where that 7-9 team beat the 11-5 Saints. So why don't they deserve to be in the
They shouldn't
playoffs?
even have got that opportunity because they were 7-9,
Right.
and they got it at home. It was a bit, you know what I mean? Like they get a home game, or you want to change the rule. If you're not at least 8-8, you can't get a home game. So they could have won their division at 7-9, and then they had to travel to New Orleans.
I like the rule where a high. I like the fact that you reward winning your division one way or the other. I do not like that you automatically get a top four seed. If you win the
Okay.
division, you can get a spot in the playoffs, but 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 that does not guarantee you a home game
Okay,
or a
so
top
you
four
would have
seed.
had. Okay, so I would even have bend a little bit on that one, even if I wouldn't have totally agreed. So you would have had Seattle still in the playoffs, but they traveled to New Orleans.
Right.
Okay, I bet New Orleans would have won.
Actually, if I remember correctly, the Seahawks would have been a six seed, and then the Saints would have been as high as a three seed, if I'm not
Right,
mistaken. So
right.
so they so yeah, you are correct. They would have played 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 each other.
Yeah, they just played in New Orleans then.
Yeah.
I
So
bet New Orleans would have won that game then.
100%.
Yeah,
I
see
mean,
that
yeah.
the Seattle home crowd really affected Breeze in that one. They
hmm
that was a big deal.
That is when the quote loudest stadium in the
Yeah,
world, the 12th man, really started to take effect there. So.
right.
But guys, that's going to be it for today. Tomorrow we're going to break down the Antonio Brownless Oakland Raiders. Give a black and the black hole a little bit of love, even though they don't deserve it, because they're just as bad as the Bengals are. But
Yeah,
it is what it is.
and then tomorrow NBA schedule release.
Yes, NBA schedule does come out fully this afternoon, actually.
Right.
So we'll get time to look at that, kind of circle some key games, and
Yeah.
pick and choose some Christmas games as well. So, guys,
Right.
join us tomorrow. Join the Marcus and Mike talk show, Fantasy Football League on there at ESPN.com. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow.
All right.